Good afternoon, everyone. They say every object tells a story, and if that's true, I have with me three objects that represent me. To begin with, and this tiny Lego piece. This tiny Lego piece doesn't seem like much at first. It's small, forgettable, and even if I drop it on the floor, I wouldn't bother to pick it back up. But it came with one of the biggest Lego sets I've ever built. And when I first opened the box, it was quite overwhelming for me. And there were lots of pieces, thousands of pieces, and I didn't know even when to start. I asked myself, how am I supposed to turn this mess into something good? But I stuck with it. One piece at a time, I kept building, and eventually turned into something I was quite proud of. I feel like this Lego kind of represents how I'm living right now. Trying to learn about helping a dentist, trying to go through college, and trying to balance my relationships and my work at the same time. It's all about figuring out my goals. It's all about showing up, consistency, doing the small stuff, and trusting that it will add up to something bigger. Perfect. I'm gonna move on to the tooth. This tooth represents the work I do in the dental field. Becoming a dental assistant was my first job, and at first I just tried to step inside the door just to get into the field. But it has taught me so much more than I expected. It has taught me about resilience. It has taught me about working as a team, working on my toes, working in stressful situations. And even though it's hard, I believe it has paid off. That after every single consult, when the patient leaves with a smiley face, I feel complete. And I do believe, and I do wish that someday I will be the one on the other side of the chair, not as a patient, but as either a dentist or a hygienist. Now, this last object is probably the most personal to me. This is the Ecuadorian flag. This is the place where I was born. This is the place where I have all my family, where I have my friends, where I have my culture, my music, everything. It reminds me of a lot of good stuff. It reminds me about the places, the energetic and warming culture that they have. But it also reminds me of a time that tested me more than anything else. The time that I moved from Ecuador to the United States. The first time, when I arrived at the United States, everything felt different. It felt strange, it felt loud, and it felt unfamiliar. More than anything. I didn't understand the language, and even the tiny conversations that I had felt overwhelming to me. I remember trying to, in my head, trying to rehearse what I was about to say in every single conversation, rehearsing, translating from Spanish to English, and then from English to Spanish, just to try to not get anything wrong. But I did. But little by little, I adapted. Little by little, mistake by mistake, conversation by conversation, I started picking up the language. It took patience, effort, and a lot of resilience. I kept trying, even when I didn't get things right the first time. But I kept showing up. I made mistakes, but I started to understand more as time progressed, speak more, and that feeling of unfamiliarity, after some time it stopped. Now, when I hold this flag, I don't just see where I came from. I see how far I've come. I see someone who faced a challenge head on, and even though it was scary at first, pushed through. It's a reminder that with resilience, I can handle change and I can keep going forward. So, why a tooth? Why a flag? And why a Lego? Because they represent what shaped me. My work, my challenges, and my mindset. They show me where I've been, how I've grown, and how I plan to keep going. Thank you, everyone.